Another point for us. Nice.
There it is. Okay, go ahead.
It's our shot.
Right now, 8-6, and that's usually about right. Just look how awkward he is when he throws. Look at
Do that a couple more times. There you go. Oh, that was close.
Awkward throw I've ever seen. See.
Hurry up, bro.
This guy thinks he's a pitcher. There we go.
Knock theirs in or put it on. Ah. And that's cornhole. It's coming for you. Cheers.
I found beer fairly early on, pretty much right out of high school. I can remember being at a buddy's house, and he held up 2 bottles of beer. One of them was a Delirium Tremens, and the other one was a Racer 5 IPA. And he let me try the Delirium and asked me what I thought. I was like, yeah, it's pretty good, it's decent beer. And then he gave me the Racer 5 IPA, and it blew my mind immediately. And I think that's when I first fell in love with IPAs and hops. I had a job before this. I was selling food to restaurants, and I would wake up every day not excited about work, and I was tired of it. I wanted to wake up and be excited about what I was gonna do. I've always loved beer, so I thought to myself, what better thing to try to get into than beer? Put that goal out there and did all the necessary steps to get me to where I am right now. Red Brick Brewing, it's the oldest brewery in the state. We started in 1993. I think that we have got a good group of guys here now. All brewing operations fall under my responsibility.
We have a dark saison in the barrels. It's been aging for about 5 months on the rum, and it's developed some very unique flavors over the time, a combination of flavors from the rum, the wood from the barrel. Right now we're just checking to see, we're doing some quality control to make sure this beer tastes how it should. Big caramel, this one's definitely drier, a little more oaky.
It's nothing like sampling 9.5% beer on Monday morning.
Yep, doesn't get better than that. I could not see myself in an office job. Sitting behind a desk is not my style, so yeah, definitely more, this is more what I'd like to do. You know, this is a career for me, it's gonna be a rest of the life type thing, so. I moved to Colorado, looking for a job as a park ranger, and ended up discovering homebrewing. It's the homebrewing capital of the world. It just became more of an obsession than anything else. It's our 21st anniversary. We're legal now. Every year we do a special anniversary beer, so this is probably one of our most unique, if not the most unique one we've done yet. So one of the kind of game-changing beers for me was a beer from Avery called the Reverend. I've been getting into more and more beers as the laws change in Georgia, and we got a lot of beers from Belgium, and I really liked those. And then I drank an Avery Reverend, and that's what really opened my eyes to American craft beer and what it could be. After that, I was on a mission to drink pretty much all that I could. People want more handcrafted things. They want less processed, more local, more things where they know, what's going into their product and know that it's being crafted with love. It's one of our best-selling beers here at Red Brick, one of our core brands. It's got a lot of Vienna malt for a nice malt backbone, balanced out by a lot of hops. Everything from tropical fruits to southern Georgia pines. A-Town Brown has a lot of history here at the brewery. It's actually the first beer Red Brick ever brewed back in 1993. Since then, the recipe has stayed the same, and we've brewed this beer more than any other beer over the years.
Craft beer is kind of an art. I think it's a marriage of art and science.
We're always trying to use the best quality ingredients, and that's one of the things I like best about craft brewing. We'll go out of our way to source something that we think is better than we can get anywhere else and put that in our beer. One of the best parts of the craft brewing process to me is just the hands-on parts. We have a very manual brewery operation here. Nothing's really controlled by computer screens or anything else. We're actually out there, turning valves, doing everything, shoveling all the grains. We just added all the grain for our Hopland IPA. 2,900 pounds of barley is in the hopper and about to be crushed by the mill. This is our Barley Mill, and it's very unique. It's a very old mill. It was built in 1927 by Robert Bobby Manufacturing over in England. They found it in a field just sitting there in England when they were out shopping for the original brew house back in '93. Brought it back over to the States and rebuilt it from the ground up. What we're doing is pumping this beer out of the barrel and into one of our bright tanks, where later on we'll add carbonation to the beer, get it carbonated to the proper level, and then get it into bottles. No excessive amounts of brewer's yeast or chunks of barrel wood floating in there or anything, and yeah, everything looks great. Nice clear beer. The creative process here at Red Brick, it can go a lot of different ways. Sometimes it starts with just coming up with a great name. We'll sit down and have some discussions about names, and we might find something we really fall in love with, and then kind of figure out, what beer would suit this best, and it really gets the juices flowing sometimes creatively. A lot of times the process involves just kind of evoking an image and something that'll go along with that. So a lot of times we're actually getting the image before the name. When you buy our beer, we like it to be sort of an experience for you. We want to evoke feelings that we had going into the beer, and we get to do different beers almost every day. We're always coming up with something new. We're always coming up with the next great idea. It never really feels like work. Sometimes I'm surprised I get a paycheck out of this. It's just something I really love to do, and it just feels at home. Being here just feels at home.
I think that Atlanta has come a long way, especially in the recent few years. When I first got to Atlanta, you could not drink a beer in this state that was over 6% alcohol. And immediately I was thinking to myself, I totally just moved to the wrong state. Since that law changed, they raised the cap to 14%. We can brew 14% beers now. That's when everything started changing. We started bringing in really cool beers from out of state, and then I think that helped the consumers' knowledge about beer and what beer could be. I think it's become much more competitive. We went from just a handful of breweries 5 years ago to over 30 now, and that's great for everybody because it just elevates the quality of brew that's happening in our state, and we're really poised for some growth and expansion. We look forward to the future.
On a typical bottling day, we're bottling about 14,000 to 16,000 bottles, and as you can see, it's a lot of work. We have sort of a small family crew, but that's how we like to do things here at Red Brick Brewing. The machine fills the beer, but every bottle is loaded on by hand and taken off by hand, so we get to see every bottle individually and inspect it for quality right when it's coming off the line. So the first step is we load the bottles onto a conveyor, and then they get labeled. Whatever brand we're packaging that day, that label will be put on the bottle. The next step is the guy who's driving the machine. He's picking up bottles 24 at a time, running them through a sanitizer, and then dropping them onto the filler. Once the bottle runs through the filler, gets filled with beer, it's then capped, and then whoever's at the end is taking them off, inspecting them, putting them into cases, and sending them off to you guys. The one thing we actually take seriously here is, brewing great beer. I just want to make the best beer as I possibly can.
The most important part is the conversations that you have, whether it's your friends, it's your family, or if it's somebody you just met. That whole culture that revolves around craft beer, sharing a beer together, the community vibe. And I think the cool thing about craft beer is it kind of mirrors that local food revolution that's happening right now. We're right there with that, and I think it's a great thing to focus on local.
Okay. So as far as the future, I'd like to see Red Brick have a very strong impact on the Southeast. I'd like to go and see us in most every bar, most every supermarket, most every liquor store, and like to see our beer out there.